This is the Hall Forum of Public Policy. My name is Michael Riccards, and I'm delighted to have today as our guest Marc Mappen, who's the Executive Director of the New Jersey Historical Commission. Marc, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael.
What does the Historical Commission do?
Well, we're a state agency, and we preserve and promote the history of New Jersey. So, among other things, we give out grants to history organizations and to researchers and teachers. We put on programs, we do publications, and we do whatever we can to make the citizens of New Jersey aware of the great history of our state.
Now, this history has had, of course, legions of interpreters in the area of Revolutionary War. This was, as one author put it, the cockpit of the Revolution.
That's correct.
But it wasn't really a major area in terms of the Civil War.
Well, that's right. In the American Revolution, New Jersey was right between the rebel capital of Philadelphia and New York City, which was occupied by the British. So the major battles, in fact, more of the battles of the American Revolution were fought here in New Jersey than in any other state. But during the Civil War, of course, the scene shifted to the south, to Gettysburg. So New Jersey was involved, but our state was not invaded.
Now, February 12th, of course, is the 200th anniversary of the birthday of the 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. By almost all interpretations, the greatest of the American presidents. And the Civil War has become the Iliad and the Odyssey of the American Republic. How is New Jersey celebrating Lincoln's bicentennial?
Well, Michael, the governor has established a Abraham Lincoln Bicentennial Commission, as indeed have many states have done that. And there's a National Lincoln Bicentennial Commission, which I happen to know you are a member of. And so I'm hopeful that this New Jersey Bicentennial Commission will be able to pull together celebrations and observances. There's many things I think that commission could do. Create a website, publicize events. And so I am confident that there will be a commemoration of Lincoln's birthday in New Jersey.
Now, Lincoln, on his way down, his famous train tour from Illinois to Washington, D.C., a strip of which Obama replicated a while ago, he did come through New Jersey, which, of course, was a major terminus, right, and stopped a couple places and gave speeches. What did he talk about?
Well, on that train trip, he didn't talk much on the way from Springfield, Illinois to Washington, D.C. And he would stop at many spots, get out, talk to people who had assembled there, and he would crack a few jokes about how ugly he was, but then he would say, but please understand that I really can't say very much because I haven't been inaugurated yet. And at that point, the situation was falling to pieces. States were seceding. They were forming a Confederate government. So he tried to be very quiet about that and not make any policy statements that might be a problem later on. But when he got to Trenton, where he gave a speech, he was a little bit more free, a little bit more open. And there he gave a speech to the state Senate and to the state Assembly. And I think he was very frank in his remarks to the state Senate.
Now, those are two separate speeches. He didn't speak to the bodies combined. He spoke to the Assembly, and then he spoke to the Senate.
Yeah, and you would now, if he did that now, there would be a joint session, of course.
Right.
But I think in those days they really respected the two houses of the legislature as separate bodies.
What did he say? Was there anything significant that he said?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I think there really was. I think when he was speaking in the Assembly, it was kind of a standard speech, not committing himself to too much. But in the Senate, he talked a little bit deeper, in fact, quite a bit deeper. And in fact, I have a quote from his speech to the Senate. Because when he got there, when he started to speak, he recalled that when he was a child, he read a biography of George Washington. That's the famous Parson Weems biography that talked about Washington chopping down the cherry tree and so on. But he said he was particularly impressed by the story of the Battle of Trenton, how just at the point when the Patriot cause was at its lowest depths, it looked like the war was almost over, Washington counterattacked at Trenton. And Lincoln said in his speech to the senators, "I recollect thinking then, boy, even though I was, that there must have been something more than common that those men struggled for. I am exceedingly anxious that that thing which they struggled for, that something, even more than national independence, that something that held out great promise to all the people of the world for all time to come, I am exceedingly anxious that this Union, the Constitution, and the liberties of the people shall be perpetuated in accordance with the original idea for which that struggle was made. And I shall be most happy indeed if I shall be a humble instrument in the hands of the Almighty and of this, His almost chosen people, for perpetuating the object of that great struggle." So that was the major part of his speech. And I think that there are echoes of his remarks in Trenton that you can see in two of his greatest speeches, and two of the greatest speeches in probably American political literature, the Gettysburg Address and the Second Inaugural.
Good. We'll come back to a further discussion of Abraham Lincoln in our own state of New Jersey.